Minecraft 1.20 breaks one of the mortal sins of Minecraft development and game development more broadly by taking away a feature that players have already been used to. If you'll believe it, before the Enchanted Golden Apple was a loot table drop only, you used to be able to craft it yourself, even though it took 8 gold blocks, and this is something that a lot of people were upset with because something they had was something they didn't have after an update. Instead of an update solely given to people, it slightly took away. Like the regular Golden Apple, which used to be crafted from gold nuggets, which is now crafted from gold ingots. This is a big downgrade to some players, and it means that updates are not an objective positive. The same thing with combat cooldown. You used to be able to kill mobs faster on the Java edition until they slowed it down for certain players, which is great for PvP, but for some survival players, being trapped in a corner and not being able to fight your way out was very frustrating, and so these are some of the big controversies that 1.20 is maybe repeating, because Netherite is the hardest to get gear in Minecraft. Instead of just being get some diamonds together and make it that way, you need a diamond set of tools ready, and then 4 ancient debris, and then 4 gold. Well, I mean, you don't have the use for gold and enchanted golden apples anymore, and then you can create yourself the Netherite gear. This is something that has led to so much controversy of people saying, that was hard enough by itself. Why did we need to add an extra step? 1.20 requires a smithing template, which can only be found in the wild. This means that Netherite upgrades will not be possible on servers if people have taken all of these away from you, and there are all sorts of other ramifications, and I figured rather than just talking about it solo for this week's Deep in the Mine episode, I'd get a guest along with me, Silent Whisperer, to talk about this together. So, hello Silent, how are you doing?
Very good, how about yourself?
I'm doing great too. This is Silent Whisperer, friend of mine, and the Bug Rock guy. How would you describe what you do here on YouTube?
I am a bug person. I make a bunch of videos on all the Bedrock Edition bugs that can ever be found, along with tutorials and Let's Plays, basically everything Bedrock Edition.
So, because you don't show your face, you're a zombie pigman, but would you say zombie pigman or zombie piglin?
Pigman. I am not about to be changed. I'm OG.
That's good. I mean, a zombie, I guess that's a good point. You are so old, you predate the idea of zombified piglins. But that means that you weren't at some point previously a piglin that's zombified. You've just always been a pigman that has half zombie.
Exactly. I'm a pig that got shot by lightning.
That's it. You know, that's a much better origin story than Piglin who just went to the overworld. I like it.
Yeah.
But what I am not sure everyone likes is the changes they made in 1.20, specifically regarding Netherite. They have made it so now you don't just require a Netherite ingot, you need a smithing upgrade as well. Do you think... how do you feel about that, first of all?
Actually really like the smithing templates and the netherite upgrades. That's all a pretty great feature, but there is some major flaws with it. Mostly it's scarce. 1.20 should really just be called like the scarcity update, because all of the major features are just going to be hard to find, especially for existing worlds with a world border, which is like most of them, or even like a skyblock world. You're just not going to get like any of the new features.
Yeah, we had this discussion. Literally every feature, like even cherry groves, once all the cherry groves are gone and all the trees are chopped down, no more trees for you. Like and with the Netherite upgrade, you can duplicate them, but only if you have one already. So every extra smithing upgrade you get, or smithing template, is rarer than the one you had before it if you're not duplicating it, which on multiplayer worlds, like you say, big problem, right?
Because there's going to be like, 10 or 15 players that all want to get netherite, and the first person to get netherite is going to have a monopoly on it. And if you have an elytra or just the means and intention to, you could get all of the close netherite upgrades. It's going to be kind of a mess.
I've been thinking about that a little bit, because to play, that's why people don't like it. That's why people would say it's one of the big problems. But to play devil's advocate here, isn't it kind of cool that every time you pick up one of these rare items, especially the trims, like the Netherite upgrade has some more controversy to it, but trims are really cool that every time you have one, it is rarer for anyone else to get the same.
That's fair. I actually do really like trims. It does the, feature really great of just allowing you to modify and make your armor custom, because all of them are completely useless, so there's no reason to have any of them, which makes it so that you can actually pick the one that you want.
And that's why it's fine if they all go missing. Like, if someone's taken them all, then that's, it would be great to have them and you'd like the customization, but it's almost fun that they're gone. The rarer they get, the more interesting they get.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you actually managed to get one of those? That's crazy.
Like,
I think there's one...
The one I want to look for. You know what my favorite armor trim is? Well, what's your favorite armor trim first, actually?
The silence one.
Yeah,
because,
I was gonna say it's a perfect fit for your name. I realize, but
it is.
it looks so cool, and having that is gonna be my first goal in 1.20, like getting a full set of those. But it's so hard. You have to find at least a half dozen ancient cities, or get very lucky, I guess.
They're incredibly rare. Isn't there like a 1% chance per chest or something?
Apparently 1.2% chance, and then there's like a dozen chests per ancient city. Finding an ancient city was already such a hard thing, but to say, find 5 of them. it's
and raid all of them.
Yeah, without no wardens. The plus side is we'll end up with lots of copies of the new disc or the old new disc. Man, I want to talk about the new disc.
You're gonna get a lot of loot, but
you'll
get that.
A lot of those mystical cucumbers, a lot of the you're gonna have so many like Swift sneak books, I guess. So in a way, this is the missing item that the Deep Dark needed, like having an extra reason to go there, like this big aesthetic boost. Like it is pretty good. But that's
true. It does give you another reason to actually go the Deep Dark, because there's not much of actual value there, but now there's like a super rare item.
Wait, don't you want a respawn compass?
No. Don't you want a mystical cucumber?
They're just so good. You can use them to craft all sorts of things. So many useful items.
So many useful items. And they just like did an experiment by putting coordinates on the def screen in beta, but it just got removed. So it kind of just made the respawn compass kind of pointless.
They realized they made it useless, and they're like, oh god, we don't have another use for it. So they had to revert it. That's the way I read that change. You're right, they reverted the respawn compass nerf effectively. I would still say, even now though, like, as long as you keep a rough eye on your coordinates, when you die, you know roughly where you are and how to get back there. Whereas on Java, it might be, a long time between coordinate checks because it's not on your screen all the time.
Basically, it boils down to a skill issue or not, because if you don't know where you're at, well, you should probably know where you're at.
This is something speedrunners do, and it's something like I would adopt if I wasn't streaming all the time and have like the equivalent of it by watching my own footage. But every time you switch dimension, or when you have a nether portal, you type in your coordinates. When you're at the stronghold, you type them in, so you're never forgetting where you are. I think that's like a handy... I think that's something more players should do, like write it down somewhere, physically in Minecraft, wherever. It'll save you a lot of pain. Pro tip.
It will. That's a good idea. Sometimes you have like a little coordinate book, you write all your coordinates in.
And then you don't die as much. But the thing is, we love the idea of the silence trim. That's agreed on. But the problem with Netherite is, unlike silence, where if you see someone having it, you're like, they got the last silence trim in the world. There's none left. If you see someone with Netherite and you can't get Netherite, that would be a real balance issue, right?
It would, especially in PvP or just really anything, because Netherite's so much powerful than Diamond.
And so I think that's I think where half of the criticism comes from. It's people saying stuff like that. But even on a single player world, I think a lot of people just don't like the idea that they're making something harder just for the sake of making it harder. Like I think that game balance is important, and I think Netherite probably was made a bit too easy if it was meant to be this top gear. I do think that they should be changing something already, or should they have done it in a better way? Maybe how do you feel about it?
There's probably better ways to do it, but it is the end game of Minecraft armor and tools, so it should be somewhat difficult. I just don't know if this is like the right way to go about it with a rare item that can be completely removed by the world, from the world by players who have that intention.
Yeah, I think when they added more of them, I thought that was a nice touch. But I really think you're right, because of the multiplayer component. Because in a single player world, you can just, even if you have to travel 1,000 blocks for your next Netherite upgrade, you can at least find one eventually. You'll never deplete the entire supply. But in a multiplayer world, there is a real issue with they're going to be depleted and gone. And that's why I think they should probably add a crafting recipe. Like make it use ancient debris if you have to, or make it use a full Netherite ingot. But you should be able to craft it from scratch, unlike the other ones, which are just duplicated.
Yeah, there should be a way to make it, but make it expensive. Maybe like a diamond block or something.
Yeah, that's...
So that if you can't find it, you can actually still get Netherite.
I think, if I was in charge of the game, I would have made it not findable and explicitly only craftable. To make it just now instead of 1 Netherite ingot required, it's 2, but at least it's just 2 things required, and it's not. But maybe you're right. Like they want to make diamonds more useful. They want to instead of just having a diamond set of tools, you have to have a diamond set of tools and 7 diamonds per upgrade. But
Yeah.
um,
I do really, really like how it costs a bunch of diamonds. I think that's a great change because diamonds previously have just been completely useless. You can farm all the diamond tools, armor, and weapons using one stick and a villager, and there's previously been no reason to actually have diamonds. But
there
now these templates are really expensive, so you got to actually like go harvest some diamonds and have your tools all ready to go.
excuse you, there are 3 reasons to have diamonds. There is the enchantment table, there is the diamond block, and the jukebox. And if you want to have the premium furnace fuel, you're going to need to craft yourself some jukeboxes.
That's a fact. That is a fact. I'm sorry. I've upset you.
I've changed your mind now, right? You're like, oh yeah, no, I want all my diamonds.
Yeah.
now.
Diamonds are definitely so useful for smelting down all of your like logs into charcoal.
You can use the diamonds to smelt your diamond ore down to diamonds. It's
Oh,
it's an
yeah, there you
infinitely
go.
repeating cycle. How do you feel about 1.20 more broadly, though? How are you feeling about this versus previous updates?
So all the features are pretty good on their own, but they don't really interact with any other feature in the game more broadly. They're all kind of just like their own little islands of features, and they don't really do much with any of the other features, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the only way they tie in together is they're all vaguely exploration or customization. And
Yeah.
I think
That's
it is a
about it.
weird one for that reason, yeah.
Like the sniffer, it has all the same scarcity issues as the templates and all that, because you can only find them in warm ocean ruins with the archaeology, and then there's the percent chance of finding it in the sus sand or gravel. But the sniffer itself doesn't interact with any other mobs or items, and the plants that you get from it don't interact with any other mobs or items. So it's just a dead end of features, really.
I try not to criticize it because it was a democratic mob, and so you can't even blame Mojang for it. But the sniffer is such a bizarre addition to this update because it feels like it's missing that one crucial idea to make it really cool. Like, it looks great. It has this fun, interesting way you get it. It's got flaws, but sure. But then you just spawn it and you're like, oh, look, it's a big guy. And you can...
It's a bush.
Yeah, it's a movable bush. It feels like they should be... I don't know what they could do. But maybe if you give it, like, I don't know, a block from a biome, it could point you to that direction, because it's been here forever. It knows. Yeah, there could be some weird use that it would have in exploration, but right now it's just, yeah, it's big, it's cute, and I don't hate that. It just feels weird.
Yeah, it needs more to it. And like, you should be able to ride it or something. Like, you sit on its neck, and then you could put, like, a double chest on it or something. I don't know. It needs dumb features.
Yeah, like the camel, as dumb as it is, it's enjoyable dumb, where you will ride one when you get into a new Minecraft world, and you'll have a blast, and so it doesn't need to be, a perfect niche in the game, because I don't think the camel fits any niche at all.
No, the camel is basically just like a worse boat that's really smug looking.
Yeah. a smug looking bad boat. Yeah, and even then though, it doesn't jump that far. Like, its big thing is the fact that it can jump over big gaps, but it's only like a 6-block gap it will jump. Like, it's not...
Yeah, it's like a ravine.
Yeah. It can fail, not even the biggest, widest ravines, just most ravines.
And if you miss that jump, well, that sucks for you.
Goodbye, camel.
Bye. Hope there's no lava down there. The one gimmick that the camel does have is that you can fit 2 players, so it's kind of fun for multiplayer, and that it's so tall that like zombies can't reach you up there. But also, skeletons and creepers exist, so it's not really useful for that either way.
And it doesn't really go fast enough to avoid, or you're right, the skeleton, creepers, witches are the ones that I'm worried about. Like, they move pretty fast too. Avoiding skeletons is nice though, I guess. I mean,
you can always just use the camel. Use the camel as a human shield.
You both put shields on. One of you faces forwards, one of you faces backwards. Now you are an immovable shield, right? It's that Roman technique.
You're a tank.
So I need to ask you. I can't bring you onto the podcast as the bug rock guy without asking. Are there fun bugs in 1.20 that you feel like people don't know about?
There was a fun bug but it got removed already. I was hoping nobody would notice it. So if you shot like an arrow or a trident at a hanging sign, it would just shake, and you could stack them up and have like 100, and then you could like insta kill something. That was
Oh,
fun, but they
wow.
fixed that one.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. I didn't know.
sadness.
Wait, a sign. So is it intentional that the sign shakes?
Not the sign shakes, like the projectile on
Oh,
it shakes. It was
okay.
kind of crazy.
I thought it was like, whoa, wow, the hanging signs have physics. That is more than I expected. Um,
That would be kind of fun too.
yeah, I love any bug that has any bug where the arrows stack up in one place and then you can drop them all at the same time. I've hurt myself by accident, not knowing that's what I was doing, but it's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable.
Man, I wonder what happens if I shoot 100 arrows into this spot and then walk there.
You pick up 100 arrows.
Yeah, of course.
That's
you know, you pick them up in your face.
All at once. It's a very bad
Yeah,
death.
it's not a good time. Yeah, as for like other fun bugs
Yeah.
in the update, I'm not aware of any right now, but I am keeping my eye out. They've kind of gotten really good about actually fixing bugs and also removing our fun bugs at the same time. So they fixed like, 1,000 of the really annoying bugs, but they also removed all the good, nice, fun ones that we've been enjoying for years, like the super speed horses. Did you ever play with those?
I only heard about them because they patched them out. Like when you bred a horse with speed, the speed was baked into the horse, so you could do that as many times as you wanted, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so if you just give them like the speed effect and then you just breed it for like 20 generations, you could have a horse that goes like 20 blocks a second. It was great. You could also apply that to pigs and mules. Fantastic
Oh,
stuff.
I worked on pigs. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
A super speed
It
pig.
was amazing. Yeah, horrible to control, terrible time, but so much fun.
I think they keep nerfing horses in a way that's really confusing because they're so underpowered. It's like why are we taking the worst thing in the game and making that worse? Shouldn't we make it better?
Right.
Shouldn't we add?
Well, it's not the worst thing in the game anymore because now we have camels.
That's good for. Oh, there we go. You know what? Actually, camels or donkeys, which is the worst mount?
Oh, can you put a chest on a camel?
I don't think so.
Okay, well then, camels, yeah.
But then if you wanted a chest, you'd go with a mule. It's like a donkey's just a slow mule, whereas at least a camel has
Yeah.
something. You
Why
can
do
go on.
donkeys exist? This is a great question.
They exist so you can breed them into mules. That is the only logical explanation.
Yeah, that makes sense actually.
I don't know though. Even then, it's like they're super hard to come across. And then when you do find one, you're like, oh, I just have an off-brand horse. Like the donkey. Yeah, I think the donkey is just a precursor. But it needs more work. Whereas the camel, at least you're at the. It's like having a Pokemon like that evolves over time. The donkey evolves into a mule. Camel needs to be able to be bred with another mob. Wait, camel and sniffer get the best of both worlds there. That's my.
But why?
And then he would sniff.
This is crazy.
He would go faster, and he would. I haven't.
And it would jump. Yeah, I don't think you've thought this through.
If the sniffer was more useful, that would make sense. Okay, how about camel and what's the closest?
Polar bear.
Ah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. And it would do what?
He would go faster on ice, and a camel a bear, a desert bear. There we go. And then
yeah,
can
desert
ride,
bear. I like that.
and then you can also attack. He's got like because no mount right now has this attack built in. But you know how polar bears get up on their hind legs? Could
that would be
attack
fun
on the
actually.
horse. Yeah,
we do need a hostile mount. I kind of think that the camel features should just be put onto the Ravager because then it has like the dash attack and the 2 players and the height to it. It would be much funner to ride the Ravager if you could tame it somehow.
There's anyone who's fought a pillager raid has had the thought, I want to ride that at some point. And it's very disappointing. There's no way to do it.
I know. Such a letdown.
But,
honestly, all the mounts in the game kind of need to be reworked.
I think all transport methods, like they just keep accidentally having a super OP transport method, and then they'll have another one, and then they'll minecarts need to be fixed too. I would say ice boats, the way that whole thing works. Boats can't right now get up from water onto ice. Do you want to have it that way? I'd say you could. There's also every transport method besides the Elytra is broken, and the Elytra's broken just in a good way,
Yeah, the Elytra is too good. Everything else is too bad.
I
Like there was
liked.
a bug where
Yeah.
boats could go up one block, so you could like boat up a hill. That was amazing, and then they removed that because we can't have fun.
Yeah, see, right? That's an example of like, why do we have to do that? You know, the recent boat nerfs, the 1.19.80 ones, like just why? Why can't we put
Yeah,
horses in
with
there?
yeah, why can't we put large mobs into a boat? This has been a staple feature of Minecraft since, 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Ever since
And
they
it
added the cool
doesn't
boat.
apply to minecarts. So what's the point?
Oh wait, you can still put a horse in a minecart.
Yeah, you can still put large mobs in minecarts, but if a mob
Oh
is
my.
bigger than a boat, it doesn't fit in the boat.
Oh, I'm so much more angry now. I at least thought,
I
well, there's some
know.
consistency. At least they're
No,
trying
there's
to.
no consistency. This is
I-
Minecraft. We don't do
The
consistency.
worst one, in my opinion, is the sea turtle fitting in the boat. You can see the paddles going through his arms and his legs fitting out the back, and they specifically added that at the same time
Yeah,
they
they
removed the horse.
did.
It wasn't an accident. They did it on purpose, and I just, whoever's in charge of parity, I just would love to have a conversation with them because
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
need to
sure.
have a stern talking to. Like, what are you doing? And does this apply to Java as well? Like, can you fit these mobs in boats on Java?
So
I haven't tested it.
I know you can't put horses on a boat in Java because I had a whole video which I had to change because of that. Like I was focusing on just how the boat is so different between versions and how they've changed the way it's different between versions. But so you can't put a horse in a boat on Java. I've seen a lot of Java streamers or YouTubers try to do it and then fail, which to me is the indication that it should work, right? But yeah, it's very sad, and I think the boat just make it powerful. It's fine. It's fine if you can fit two giant mobs in there. People accept that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fine. It works. Boats have had. Okay, so boats are possibly the most broken feature in Bedrock Edition history because no matter what update you're playing in, they are just incredibly broken in one way or another. It's kind of silly. So just let them be broken and hold some giant mobs.
yes,
It would be great.
yes. Can I ask you a controversial question?
Of course.
So the boat recipe, should it have a shovel
Oh
in or
no.
not?
No. No. I hate the shovel. Why is there only one? If you're gonna make us suffer, put two shovels for two paddles.
You-
But why did they specifically add a shovel to the Bedrock
If-
recipe,
if
but
you
never add it to Java?
if you saw the shovel in half, then you have two paddles, and there is a saw on the crafting table, and so I will defend that at least it makes sense on Bedrock, whereas the
No,
Java
it
one, the
doesn't,
paddles just
because
appear out of nowhere.
Because there's two full paddles on the Bedrock boat. There's not two half paddles. There's not two
they-
thin paddles. There's two full-size paddles.
You know what? You've convinced me. Let's remove the shovel. Let's get it
Yes,
out of there.
please.
The worst bit though is just like because of the way Bedrock crafting works. It's like or like most people auto craft, and so instead of just pressing one button one time, it's like let's make some sticks. Let's make a
yeah.
shovel. Then let's make the boat. It's 3 steps instead of 1 or 4 if you count having to delog
Yeah.
your logs. What a
It's an extra pain, and then you have leftover sticks.
oh yeah.
What's the point? You gotta deal with the leftover sticks in your inventory. It's the worst change that we've had on Bedrock
and
in a long time.
because shovels don't stack, it's like if you've ever tried to make a boat full of a chest full of boats, sorry, it is just pain incarnate. It's like better make 6 shovels than make 6 boats. Put those in the chest. Go back to make more shovels, and it's like, just why? Why do we have to be this way? I'd rather just like
And then-
shift click, have it all be done, throw them in, shift click again, and we're all good. But it's not
Yeah.
that way.
And then you add in the boat chest recipe on top of that, and everything just gets crazy.
We don't acknowledge boat chests. That's too many steps. If a crafting recipe takes like 8 steps to complete, I just don't bother. I just don't.
Yeah,
bother.
maybe it's not an early game item anymore if it requires 8 crafting steps to make.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about the boat chest is like to me, until you said it, I was like, I thought you were making a joke. But you're right, it's meant to be early game, but it's clearly a late game redstone item because of how many steps it takes. Like no one can,
Obviously, there's a whole crafting tree that no one's gonna figure out.
yeah. A new player is never going to be like, oh, if I make the shovel, I can make a boat, and then want to make the boat, and I make a chest, which I have to have the chest crafted, or it won't show me I can make the boat chest. Then I can combine the boat and the chest together, and wow, isn't this great?
Yay!
I
That's why it's so good they added the crafting book, because without that, we would all just be lost forever.
yeah. I I before they did that, like on console they had a tutorial, but on Java for so long, and even now, like if you don't have the wiki or you don't just know, or you don't open that, it's like what? How would you ever know? How do you?
Right? Yeah, if Minecraft released today with all of its features, how long would it take people to figure out how to beat the game? Like
People
a
would
while.
make fun of it. They'd be like,
Yeah.
although okay, the one cool thing about not knowing is every now and then you would discover a new recipe and be like, oh,
Like
the
what
first time I
even is
discovered
this?
ladders, I was like,
Yeah.
really? You just put sticks in a little H and it makes a ladder? I was in love.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the upside and downside. It's like every new update that comes out now, everyone already knows exactly what's in it. It would be cool if tomorrow they're like, 1.20 was a joke. We're actually releasing the end update, and it's just a bunch of features that no one recognizes because it's been in secret, right?
Yeah, that would be fun, like a surprise update, kind of like how the April Fool's updates are, because nobody knows what's happening with those. You
Yeah,
just gotta jump in and figure it out.
that's what makes them so fun. They're really they're really like I would say poorly put together, but like effortlessly put together.
Yeah,
Because it's it's an
they're just kind of thrown together, but it's still really fun.
In some cases have more features than an update that takes them a whole year. Like one
Yeah.
guy, one afternoon can add 6 trillion dimensions to the game. I still think that's one of the
I still
greatest
haven't played.
rules. Oh, you haven't
Yeah,
played
I
it?
haven't played that update yet, but I want to.
Just staying alive is a challenge, let alone
I
getting
bet.
from dimension to dimension. Like it's fun. It's fun. Would recommend. Would recommend. Every
gotta
time
try
you go
it.
into a dimension, it's slightly different. It's it feels like more like a challenge map than if you think about it as dimensions, you'll get bored quickly. But it's like a challenge map where where just everything's random and you just got to find yourself to the next dimension. How many dimensions can you survive in a row? Who knows?
That sounds fun. I do want to try that.
You definitely should. I don't know how to do Java multiplayer, or I'd offer to join you. We'd have to open a server and.
Yeah, oh my god, Java multiplayer is a whole nother topic. We're gonna get severely off track here if we start going into that.
To stay on track, then, Minecraft Legends is a game we have both played.
Yes.
In fact, a little bit here on YouTube we have, and the first, I would say, the week before it came out, everyone was filled with hype. The first few days, everyone's like, "Oh, shiny," and then I feel like something happened where I've never seen this with any game so quickly. It has dropped off a cliff in terms of players. It's being reviewed very mediocrely. Like a lot of people are just like, "Yeah, that's a thing." But I feel like like we have had a lot of fun together. How do you like process all of that?
Yeah, unfortunately, it just kind of seems like this game is dead on arrival. I have some graphs to back up my statement here. So Google Trends and Steam charts both show that Minecraft Legends has dropped off just massively. So, of course, this is pretty small, like sample size, but still, it kind of shows the point that, like, on release day, Legends had like 3,500 active players, and now it's down to like 400 within 1 week.
And it's dropping and dropping and dropping
Yeah.
quicker. I mean, like on Steam, it's even worse because at least on the Xbox version, you could be like, well, people got it with Game Pass, they just load it up for curiosity. But like these are people who bought the game. I think on Steam, right? There's no Game
And people
Pass
who
on there.
probably want a refund as well.
Yeah, that's the problem is I feel like it doesn't quite pick a lane. Is it a fun, really early beginner Minecrafty whatever, or is it a strategy game that is fun that just happens to be Minecrafty? Like they kind of didn't really hit either camp too well. A lot of people who like Minecraft don't care about Legends. A lot of people like RTS are like, yeah, this is a terrible strategy.
Yeah, where's the strategy in this game?
My biggest complaint is there's one playable faction. Every time you have a versus game, it's the exact two same people playing the same base, right? Like there's no counter strategy. It's just you do your own thing, and then eventually you kill them or they kill you.
Yeah, they put a lot of time into it, but I really feel like it probably should have been delayed by like another 6 months just to like round out the feature set, add in some more things, give you like the option of factions for multiplayer and the PvP. Because right now PvP is basically just who gets a redstone launcher the fastest. So there is no way to defend against it. Even if you got like the projectile protection tower, it doesn't reach to the very top of your base. So if you
really?
just, like,
I've never. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, you can just nail the very top of the base, and there's no way to defend against it. So
I
it's just a race to get a redstone launcher.
I
And
never
if you
seen that.
don't, yeah, if you don't play with a redstone launcher, it just turns into a stalemate. Like we did a game the other day. It was the one where you were playing right after
Yeah.
that. We played without redstone launchers, and it went on for like an hour and a half until we just had to call it a stalemate because there was no way to break through the bases.
And there's no in-game way of like ask for a tie, right? You just gotta be like, yep, we're just gonna stop playing because we can't.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
It's kind of silly.
I think it's this is a game like a lot of games release and they're clearly fully done, but they say beta on them, and you're like, why? This is a game that needs the beta tag because it's got such a great base for a game.
It really does.
Like it's so intriguing and fun. It's just there's so many pieces where it's like it's not broken, it's just missing things. Like mob
Yeah, it's just
AI,
not quite there yet.
you can send your units to attack something unless there's a wall anywhere near it, in which case they might not go. And that's all you can do. You got two commands like charge or focus on target, and there should be like attack defensive. There should be options for like control units from like a top deck. There should be way more controls than there are for your units. There should be more commanded. Like there should be different variations in you as the unit leader. There should be different bases, and you should be able to play as the piglins online. There's so many fun ideas they could have thrown in there, right?
Yeah, there really is just so much more that they could have done, and hopefully they're able to salvage Legends in the next few months with an update. Like with matchmaking, it's kind of busted right now, but they did say they're working on a fix.
I think
but
fix
it's not
might have
here
rolled
yet.
out yesterday. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay, did it?
I heard,
but
I didn't know there was a Legends update until I saw a tweet from someone being like, "We made a Legends update today." So that's what I heard.
Hopefully they can manage to salvage the game. Hopefully they can get out like some more features and more stuff within like the next month or two. But it kind of seems like everything is just falling off hard with Legends.
The funny thing is, I think we actually both agree that it will be a good game at some point if they keep updating it. But then that raises the question of why is Minecraft releasing a game that is not going to be good until the DLC? You know, like to be fair, it worked for Minecraft, the base game. They, you ever play an alpha or beta version? Like, what are you even doing? But in Legends, it's like you can't just release. With Dungeons, that game is so great once you have all the DLCs, but also then it adds to the cost, and it means you can't really play it on Game Pass for free, and all these different issues. Do you think it's okay if they do fix the game via DLC and patches and little side things that you can upgrade that way?
So if they expanded like the campaign with DLC, like that seems fine because they kind of left off the ending with a teaser towards what the next DLC might be, but they really need to add in some more features and like revamp the mechanics for free.
Real quick, I need to ask. DLC. So spoiler warning. Skip ahead 25 seconds right now. Okay, so you're talking about the pillager thing, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was just a hint at how pillagers were founded in the base. You think that the next campaign would be based around pillagers and fighting them?
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, it would be really cool, actually. You've convinced me.
There's a whole thing.
I was thinking the end
or the
oceans. I said
3 words and that convinced you? That's great.
Yeah, I was like, that's way better. Like, because pillagers would actually, they could have their own set of structures. There's enough mobs in this game, but then they could be expanded on.
There's so much that you could do there. Or we could go to the Nether, because there's like the whole cliffhanger of like there's still piglins in the Nether that aren't being dealt with.
Oh yeah,
they could just come back.
You're physically in there, and then multiplayer could have like 2 map choices. You could have the overworld or the Nether, and then like there's just the way it is right now of like one faction, one map every time. Like it's so Groundhog Day. Like every time I start a game, I'm like, here we go again.
It's very redundant.
Also, 1v1 queues, I think they need to balance the game for not 4v4 as a whole. Like, they clearly just assumed that everyone has 7 friends or is willing to play with 7 strangers. Not true, Minecraft. No, all of us have 7
nobody
friends.
has friends. You know how hard it was to get like 8 people in a group for Legends? Like, come on.
You gotta ask your friends of friends, and then you gotta ask their friends, and then you got some strangers in there, and no one knows how he got in there, but you're just like, yeah, he's one of us now.
Well, we need him. Come on, get in here. Yeah, and then finding a time to get everybody together. Nah.
Yeah, that's the worst bit. I mean, especially of time zones, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're like all the way on the East Coast versus the West Coast versus Europe versus there's no time that overlaps between every part of the English speaking world. There just is not a time. You can have it be early for some people, late for other people. Having friends is awful. Play by yourself or 1v1 versus strangers. This is why we need it, Mojang. This is why we need it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really weird that you need 3v3 to even start a match because as soon as you have like a lobby that's starting to be created, it's just one player and one player, and it takes forever to get filled up to get six people
The
because
host
no
should
one's
have
playing.
the option of starting when they want, and then they could maybe start a countdown timer so everyone knows, like, oh yeah, I don't want to play a 1v1, but just it's such a weird thing to be. I would love if they even I admittedly this isn't the Mojangy, Minecrafty, kid-friendly-ish way, but I'd be like, make a 1v1 system and then have it be ranked. Give you like an elo rating, and then people are like actually motivated to play and to win and to. Whereas right now,
to actually do well. Because there's no incentive to actually play PvP, and there's no incentive to do well or collaborate or win.
If you play 100 games of Minecraft Legends, what do you have to show for it?
Probably 100 hours of gameplay because they take forever.
yeah, in 4v4, yeah, maybe even more. Depends on how good you are. But yeah, and then that's it, right? You could look at your game time and see that you've played that, but you wouldn't have any like characters. You wouldn't have any. There's not even like a list of statistics. Like you played.
Yeah, there's not even cosmetics they can unlock.
There's so many great ways they could have done it, and that's why I say it's got to be. There's no way that's the end design decision. They had goals and dreams and ideas that they're going to update later, I think. Maybe based on the feedback from the launch. Like, they might make a better game by releasing it this way, but that's why I wish they would have just said, beta or early release. Or they should have just been like, yeah, this is a product which we are going to update. Commit to supporting it for 2 years if you have to, or a year or 3 years, or... But yeah, it's a bit weird the way they...
Yeah, give us a roadmap for things that are on the way. We need to know what is happening with the game so that we can actually be like, okay, well, it's not that great right now, but in, 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever, we'll come back and give it another shot.
I think...
kind of like Halo Infinite. I mean, they kind of dropped the ball on that, but at least they tried and they kept updating and they added more game modes and there's cosmetics and ranks and levels and actual reason to play.
Nowadays, I'm convinced that's the way game development just works. Like, you release something, and then what people like, you can focus on the best bits rather than the bits that people... if people said the campaign's great, but we never want to play multiplayer, either that means you work on the bits people like, or you make the bits they don't like playable. But yeah, the way they released it has all sorts of problems. I hope they do better. Do you think after this, they're going to bother making more spin-offs? Because Legends did fine... Earth didn't do great. Story mode was, at least had ups and downs. But this is like a new level of flopping so far.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a shock to them to see just how bad it's doing, assuming that it is doing bad. We don't really have like hard statistics besides what we've seen, but it doesn't seem like it's doing great. And hopefully, again, that they can salvage it. But I think they'll probably do more spin-offs in the future because they like doing spin-offs. I mean, they have like a Minecraft cookbook now, so...
Oh, yeah.
Minecraft Pringles. I mean, they're doing all kinds of weird things.
This is almost like their curse as a studio. They're an indie studio that just happens to sell the biggest game of all time. And so nothing they ever do can live up. This is almost... this is something you see a lot on YouTube. If I don't know if you've noticed any channels like this or if you've ever been affected by this curse. If you have one video that is, 100 times bigger than your second biggest video, now you're always known as the guy who did that. And people are waiting for the next version of that thing from you.
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. There's probably a term for that, honestly.
It's the YouTube version of a one-hit wonder. I don't know. Maybe in acting, it's called like being a typecast, where people always see you as one role. They're like, yeah, this is all you'll ever be.
One-trick pony or something.
One-trick pony. That's good. Or a one-trick mule for a little upgrade. But
it's probably a downgrade, if anything.
You think a mule's worse than a pony?
Yeah, because at least ponies are cute.
Yeah, ponies are cute. You got a good point. You won me over. But yeah, I think the future of Minecraft is definitely going to be using the game to make lots of. But if the spin-offs aren't doing well, then is there a point in making? Like I bet there are more sets of Minecraft Lego sold every year than copies of Minecraft Legends bought.
Oh, almost certainly, because Lego's just so much bigger, and like the merch alone is just probably bringing in mountains of cash. Merch is usually very good for that.
Every update they make a new one, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want it.
Yeah, I really want all the Minecraft plushies because they're just so cute. Like I bought a Warden and a Pigman, and they're adorable. I want them all.
I had too many I still do because I can't bring myself to throw them away. And I'm like, what am I going to do with these plushes? Where do they go? do I
you gotta have a dedicated bookshelf for all your plushies. Have them in the background of videos. That's what you gotta do.
I mean, the background of my videos right now, I'm in a very stale apartment because it's being cleared out. I've got a single American flag on a cow painting, and that is my room right now. It's very, very detailed, very homely, feels lived in.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it works, right?
Yeah, I know. There's something. It's minimalistic. It's how I like to live in Minecraft. The only thing I'm missing is crafting tables everywhere. Definitely got
a random chest full of junk.
One chest full of junk. Wow, that is way underestimating it. This is a fun question. I want to. This is like a bit of a psychological deep dive. But in Minecraft, would you say you're a minimalist, or you're the sort of person who likes big, over the top builds?
So I can't build at all. Like I'm just a horrible builder. No confidence, but I do tend to hoard all of the items because you never know when you're going to need it. There's just so many items. What are you going to do? You can't keep them in your inventory. It's too tiny. You got to throw down a bunch of chests everywhere and just make a mess.
Well, the weirdest bit is I'll throw down chests and then I'll forget that I've got a chest full of stuff until years later and be like, oh, wow. There's loads of sand over here.
Loot chest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that.
You just sprinkle them around. I tend to have them all in one place at least.
But then in real life, are you a minimalist or do you like, is your place decorated well right now? I can't tell you just Piglin, but Pigman, sorry. No,
I'm definitely a minimalist IRL. I'm actually cleaning out my office right now to redo it, so it's actually rather empty in here, kind of like your room.
You like it when it's nice and empty? There's a certain joy, isn't there?
It's nice. It's great. No mess, no clutter.
Yeah, I love empty rooms. I've got one in my house that's just there's a mattress in the corner, and then that's the room, and it fills me with joy every time I see it. I'm like, oh, there's nothing wrong with this.
Is that your bedroom?
It's it should be. My bedroom is a little sad. I've got a bed. And then I've got a lamp as well. The lamp might have to go. Like, how often do you?
It might have to go. That's too much. Too much. You gotta scale back.
And then people find this to be weird. I have all my stuff in boxes in my home back in the UK. Like all my clothes, I should say. Like they're like black boxes. They're like cloth boxes. And everyone's like, "Is that all?" And it's like, yeah, 5 boxes. It's all my clothes. And everyone's like,
have
a piece of furniture.
I have all my stuff in boxes too.
Hey, we live the same way.
Box gang.
We should design a Minecraft house together with this.
We should.
Well, that's what we'll have to do next time we hang out. For now, this has been
It'll be an empty box.
Is there anything you'd like to promote of yours?
Subscribe.
Do it right now. Go subscribe. You need to. It's very important.
Subscribe to Toy Cat. That way you don't have a house fire. Statistically proven.
And if you subscribe to Silent, then you won't run into a Minecraft bug. Statistically speaking. Or at least you'll know how not to run into them. Or if you want to run into them, then you'll also have...
Yeah, you'll have all the good bugs.
Man, yeah, if I wish I'd known about the speed one. If I'd have just caught that Silent Whisper video, I'd have a horse that goes 100 blocks a second.
You would, because they can't remove that horse from the game, so you would still have
You still have the horses if you had one.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why you got to be on it with these bugs. There was also a bug where you can make immortal mobs, so you could have an immortal speed horse.
Wow, immortal. Yeah. I'm always like we were going into the outro, but I need to ask this question. I feel like maybe people want to know. Where do you draw the line on like abusing a bug versus just having fun with? Like, if in my super long term world, I've got a immortal speed horse that I'm just using to get everywhere. Isn't that kind of not playing by the rules? Obviously you can make your own rules, but
you see, the game is so broken that you get to make your own rules. And if we have to put up with all these weird bugs every update, they're like crashing and corrupting worlds, why not have some fun with the unintended ones? But yeah, I generally don't show like exploits like, duplication glitches or anything. But most other bugs are pretty benign.
So why not on duplication glitches? Because I'm always against them, but like I find it hard to like justify correctly. Like, well, it doesn't. What's your reason for not showing off duplication glitches?
No comment.
Anyway,
mostly they just kind of ruin like the multiplayer economy, and it just takes a lot of fun out of the game as well. Like why bother duplicating it when you can just play creative? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my problem. Whenever it's just like there's already a game mode and that game mode has upsides and downsides, why would you just? It seems like you're defeating the point a bit. But anyway, yeah, thank you for that. But I hope everyone has enjoyed the podcast today. If you'd like to check it out, it's available on Spotify, linked down below. But also, YouTube has a new podcast system set up now. I don't know what the difference is between a podcast and a playlist, but if you go to the channel, you can watch all the all the podcast episodes in order. Maybe it's different if you watch. Let me know in the comments if you use YouTube Podcasts, because it's a whole section on my channel, and I just had to click it. Have you seen the YouTube Podcast thing, Silent?
I have not. I did not know that was a thing.
It's weird. Yeah, it's on. I just saw it on my channel one day, and I was like, well, I'll add a podcast. Technically, I have one. And now you have been part of it. I hope you enjoyed your time here today.
It's been great. Thanks for having me.
And I hope to speak again soon.
We shall.
Goodbye.
Bye.